Welcome to Church History. Welcome to 401CH. Welcome to the 20th hour. So probably by now you've written at least one assignment, if not two assignments, and this last lecture is a kind of, well, what's the point really? Well, the point is that in this lecture, what we do is we get you to say, what do you think we as a course have not especially covered? What should we talk about? And we say, what do you think in future generations they will be wanting to include as part of this church history course? So over the years, I've got you to throw out all sorts of different ideas, and I've scribbled them down as fast as I could. And so what I've done is I've written some of them up there, and we might just have a quick look at them. Death of the Church of England, said one student a couple of years back. The importance of discussing slavery, modern slavery, that meant. The end of the parish system, the role of Bishop's Advisory Panel, and the concept of vocation, virtual church, Methodism and ecumenism, terrorism. Let's talk about dementia and end of life. Let's talk post-colonial theology. Okay, just brilliant. All these different ideas, and I'm so glad and excited that you're excited about some of these ideas. But the main complaint about the church history course is that there's just too much in it. And of course, I took out Desert Fathers, and I'm still feeling upset about that. So there you go. Here we go. Mission and the internet. Well, that's quite relevant. The closing question that I'm going to leave you with, that we might discuss in a seminar situation, is the church in COVID-19. How did we cope? What was it that we did, and how did that work out? And was any of that fruitful? And how are we coping now with whatever it is that will be there now? Mission in terms of moving the church online. Looking at the role of women in the church as we pursue equality in the church, as we model that through BAME, black, African, minority ethnic groups, as we look at those Christians, our brothers and sisters, and seek equality for them so that they can be represented. We need to hear their voice because they bring issues and questions and answers and insights that we don't always hear ourselves. This is the voice we need to hear. Safeguarding, we talked about last time. I don't think that story is finished, so I think that will continue. Millennials, and whatever it is that comes beyond that. These are going to be the vicars of this generation and the next generation. So how is the church going to be shaped by those millennials? What training do they need? And how do we give them a sense of vocation? Millennials, disability. Churches have made huge inroads in making our churches accessible to all, but still not really. So some successes, some poor moves in that direction. So we could talk more about where we might go with that. Parish system. Now, we talked about the Industrial Revolution, the Industrial Age, and church planting, and some of the difficulties that the Church of England had there, whereas the Methodist and the Free Churches didn't have a problem so much there. So nowadays, what we tend to do is we go for a Bishop's Mission Order, a BMO, as a way of trying to get a church going and get things moving in new areas, whilst we then work out the legalities of putting in a proper parish, a parish church, and a parish system. But maybe, in the light of COVID-19, maybe we don't need so much of a parish system, and maybe we could think differently. At the moment, I'm here in a village, and so it's very difficult for me not to think parochially, not to think of my village, my parish, how to think out of the parish system. Gay marriage nearly always comes up at this point. It's thought that this will come to the Church of England by the students who come to this course. It will happen, and the degree to which we are content to work with that, or the degree to which we're not sure if we're prepared to work with that, and how will that come about. LGBT plus issues continue, and we've got to really see how this living in love and faith works out in terms of how it's going to help us understand sexuality and identity and faith and church and how that all comes together. So we haven't finished in praying. And climate change, do you remember? That was the big issue that we were all worried and talking about, the floodings that we saw in the West Country and so on. And, climate change was what we were all really working hard towards. And then COVID-19 meant everybody shut down and the skies above were free of plane trails. And suddenly the earth could breathe and everybody went, hurrah for climate change. And now we're going, yes, but of the economic impact of that. In some ways it's good, in a lot of ways it's bad when you see the whole area of Crawley and its employment for those at Gatwick Airport. It's a big deal. So, climate change, I don't think we're finished with that story either, and we'll need to be exploring. So I leave you with this question: what are the issues that we have not particularly explored, particularly unpacked, that maybe we could, in a small seminar type, just 5-10 minutes, chew it around the room and get a little bit of insight on? But one of the questions that I will be putting to you is the church in COVID-19 in this new world. How was it that you coped, and how do you think we should cope? Well done for getting this far with the church history course. You're amazing, you've done really well. Remember that the aim of this game was for me to try and enthuse you about the relevance of church history and see its crucial importance. Do you keep reading more church history as you go through your modules and your courses that are to come, because it will continue to help us see how Christians have dealt with particular situations in their time, in their place, in their setting, what the Bible spoke to them, how the Spirit moved them, and how they set about trying to show the love of Jesus Christ in their setting where they were. And we get to see exciting things where God just keeps doing things, even when the church is being a bit fat and lazy. With the popes, we see the rise of the monastic order and the monastic system. We see the Church of England falling asleep with its fat slumbers, and God pours his Spirit, and we have the Methodists and the awakenings. So we need to see God at work through our history, and that needs to encourage us as we wonder, what is God calling me to at this time in this place, as I work hard to proclaim the gospel afresh to each generation. I hope to either actually see or to virtually see you in some sort of seminar form at some stage later. Well done for getting this far. Keep going. God bless.